The family of Mark Duggan, who was shot dead in 2011 by armed police in Tottenham, held a vigil in protest of a recent court verdict which ruled that Mr. Duggan had been lawfully killed despite being unarmed. Hundreds of supporters joined the Duggan family and several other families whose loved ones had died in or shortly following police custody in a show of solidarity and widespread anger at what many believe to be an ongoing cycle of injustice. We went down to Tottenham Police Station where the vigil was held to get the opinion on the ground. What was your opinion when you first heard the Mark Duggan verdict?
Very upset, very distressed and let down. I felt the pain for the family because we were hoping that going through the legal route that we were going to get some sort of justice.
I was very surprised because the evidence was compelling and we were expecting an unlawful killing verdict. So when it came back lawful, it was just shocking and painful.
We were devastated because how does a man that doesn't have a gun, that surrenders, get shot on our street? How is that lawful? That, to me, is unlawful.
What was your initial reaction when you heard the Mark Duggan verdict?
I was in the courtroom at the time, and everybody was shocked. Like the place, the courtroom almost turned upside down. That's how shocked people were. It was just disgusting. Like, how does a man hold a gun and not leave fingerprints on it? How does a man allegedly hold a gun, get shot in his chest, and not have any of that blood burst out of his chest onto that gun? That's like, we all watch CSI. That's forensic standard. You understand what I'm saying?
10 people let down 70 million people in this country by giving a lawful judgment on the murder of Mark Duggan, yeah? Because it was murder. Because any man that's got his hands in the air, basically, in my opinion, waving a white flag, should not be shot dead in the street.
If it's lawful for an unarmed man to be killed, what impact do you think that will have on the community, on parents? Because that means that anybody, if you're unarmed then you could be lawfully killed. Does that have dangerous implications for everyone?
I said this on TV already. It's sending out the wrong message. It's sending out an absolutely if I'm walking down the road and I've got a hoodie on or dressed a certain way or behaving a certain way and I reach into my pocket, a police can look at me and think, hang on, is she reaching for a gun and shoot me?
Can you really be safe if an unarmed man can be lawfully killed?
I can tell with the emotional reverence that was in your voice when you asked me that question that you know the answer to that question. I should really let you answer. I think the public at large would know. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, how do you shoot an unarmed man and call that lawful? How is that justice? Do you get what I'm saying?
That means that anybody unarmed could actually be lawfully killed, doesn't it?
Well, that's the message that they're clearly trying to send. They're trying to intimidate us as a nation, as a community. We will not allow that barbaric behaviour, and that is why today, when we came for this vigil, it is about bringing the people, the communities, all of us together to stand in justice and fight for justice.
I think you've got one of the posters here which kind of explains it quite clearly. Over 1,400 deaths in custody, no police officers convicted since 1990. What will it take for this cycle to stop? Because obviously your brothers, we've had so many people who have been caught up in this system. How can we stop it?
Until officers are made accountable for wrongdoing and for murdering our loved ones and put into prison, nothing will change.
How do we bring a stop to this cycle as a community? What do you think would bring an end to this? Because like I said, we've been here before.
Sorry to cut you, but the community can't bring a stop to deaths of black people in custody. The state has to bring a stop to deaths of black people in custody. That's not our responsibility to stop the police killing us. It's the police and the state's responsibility to stop the police killing us unlawfully, unjustly in custody.
This was a question I've been asking. Since I was a young girl and could understand the news, these stories have been coming up. I'm now 48 years old and nothing has changed. We're still going through riots. We're still going through the police stop and searching the black people more than anyone else. There's so many things that we're still going through 30 odd years down the line. Is it going to be 10 years from now we're going to be going through the same scenario again? Another riot over something else? results, another person dying, another person being unlawfully killed, or lawfully in their eyes, quote unquote. You know, so we have to keep that fight going. I will keep on saying it. We have to keep the fight going till we get to the bottom of it, till the police realise they've got to build on their police relations with the communities.
At the moment, it's simple. It's like I said, and I've said publicly, right about now, in London alone, they spent billions putting cameras on every street corner, this, that and the other, to prevent crime and troubles and this, that. So now, in Luton, we are now competing for a Leon's Law, right? So we're all police officers, not just armed response police officers, wear as far as I'm seeing it, the £25 camera, because it also protects them and it protects us as citizens.
What have you made of the media representation of Mark Duggan? We've heard quite, horrible things about him, as though people were trying to justify.
Isn't it easier to find the horrible side of anyone? And this is what the media do well. That's what they're meant to do. They find all the nitty-gritty, all the dirt, and throw it at you. And then, of course, people form an opinion. Remember, when this story first came out, we heard a man shot at the police shot him back and killed him. So everyone thought, oh, well, that's fair enough, But then it turned out it was a police bullet that shot at the police. Then it turned out he didn't even have a gun. Now his guns ended up 20 metres away or however far away from where he actually was killed. The policeman says he had a gun, but the gun was over there. So how could he have a gun and you say you saw this gun, but yet still the gun was over the other side? None of it makes any sense.
What did you make of the media's portrayal of Mark Duggan throughout over the last 2 years?
I'm going to maybe a couple of words because the family have spoke. I know him, like the family know him, as a being. He is a being, okay? And this representation of him has been appalling because the media is a voice for the community. Okay, you go to work, you study, okay, to become journalists. You do not do it in 1 second. It takes a lot, and I respect that. But be truthful on your documentation of what you put out to the people, because it's you that can divide the people by what you do. So if you're going to represent an organisation, do you not, I ask you today, want to be part of something that represents the truth?
Okay, so how did you find today on the whole?
Well, it was quite inspiring still. I mean, the community came together in solidarity with Mark Duggan's family. Do you get what I'm saying? The community spoke. The media descended upon this place, as nervous as they were, scared that there might be riots, because all they really want is a headline. Do you get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, people came out, the community spoke, and the media listened. They heard, they recorded it, and that's going to get broadcast to the world. At the end of the day, it's been documented. Whether they want to chop it up and misrepresent us or not, we also have our own media organisations like yourselves that are down here representing what we really said and how we really said it. So we ain't really got to worry about them media, and that's what I'm saying. But I think that it was a great event, or inspiring really.